You know what's funny? People hear the word destiny and suddenly they forget how messy life really is. They picture sunshine, slow motion walks, violins playing in the background while two souls just magically find each other like puzzle pieces waiting politely in a box. But life doesn't work like that. No, life throws you into a room full of mirrors, cracks every one of them, hands you a blindfold, and whispers, "Find the one." And somehow you think you'll feel it when it's right. You think the sky will open up, angels will sing, and a big neon sign will drop from heaven saying, "This one, right here, perfect." That's the word everyone's chasing, isn't it? A perfect smile, a perfect story, a perfect partner. Neat, polished, filtered. You know the type. They walk in and everyone starts imagining wedding rings and coordinated outfits and it's for Christmas cards. But here's the punchline. That kind of perfect isn't real. It's a costume, a show, a trap made out of expectations and Instagram captions, because the truth, the one that people are too scared to say out loud, real connection doesn't feel like a fairy tale. It feels like a glitch in your system. It shows up when you're when you're not ready, when you're still piecing yourself back together with tape and teeth gritting and fake smiles in the mirror. And it doesn't glide in like a prince or a queen. It crashes into your world like a storm with no warning. Not soft, not charming, just real. And that's why you doubt it. That's why it scares you. Because it doesn't come wearing the costume you imagined. It comes with baggage, awkward pauses, scars they don't talk about. And it makes you question everything you thought love was supposed to look like. Celie. Everyone thinks the one is supposed to make you feel safe, but sometimes they make you feel exposed, vulnerable, like someone suddenly found your diary and started reading it out loud, not because they want to break you, but because they see you. And being seen like that, it's uncomfortable, it's terrifying, and it's exactly how you know it's real. Because comfort is easy to fake, connection isn't. Connection pulls your walls down while you're still trying to stack them higher. It sees your panic and doesn't flinch. You're used to playing roles. We all are. We smile when we want to scream. We agree when we want to run. We wear masks because the world doesn't really want to see the mess underneath. But then this person walks in and for some reason you can't lie. You try sure, but your voice cracks. Your eyes betray you. Your soul shifts. And suddenly you're not the one in control anymore. That mask slipping. That fake laugh stuck in your throat. And it's in that moment when you're most off balance that the real magic starts. It doesn't come with fireworks. No romantic soundtrack playing in the background. Just this stillness, this unnerving sense that your chaos finally has company. And they're not here to clean it up. They're just here to sit in it with you. Not judging. Not fixing, just being. And that's what messes with your head. Because they don't fit the checklist. They're not the type you pictured. But they understand your brokenness in a way that feels like deja vu. Like maybe, just maybe, their scars recognize yours, so you fight it. Of course you do. Because love that deep doesn't slip on like a glove that digs. It scrapes at your fears. It holds a mirror up and dares you to look. And most people can't. They run, they sabotage. They pick someone easier, someone who doesn't trigger them. Someone who lets them stay small. But not you, right? You want the truth. You want the kind of love that doesn't just hold your hand, it holds your shadow. The kind that sees the worst in you and doesn't blink. That's not a fantasy. That's not a dream. That's war. That's soul recognition. That's standing in front of someone who makes you feel things you didn't even have words for. And every part of you wants to back away except the part that's been waiting. Waiting for someone who doesn't just compliment your strengths but walks straight to your weakness and says, "Yeah, I've got those too, so no, it's my dear." It's not smooth. It's not picture perfect. It's clumsy. It's uncomfortable. It's you realizing that maybe what you needed all along wasn't a partner who makes you feel complete, but one who reminds you that broken doesn't mean unworthy. One who reminds you that being seen, fully seen, is more terrifying and more sacred than anything else you've ever known. One who doesn't just fit into your life, but makes you question who you are without them staring back at you like they already knew your story before you spoke a word. Destiny. Now there's a word that gets tossed around like candy at a clown parade. People cling to it like it's a golden ticket, some shiny stamp of divine approval that makes life easier to swallow. It's fate, they say, like that explains away all the pain, the confusion, the gut-punch decisions that don't come with instructions. But here's the joke: destiny doesn't knock on the door politely, it breaks in, shatters the windows, rearranges everything and dares you to pretend like you weren't waiting for it. You want clear signs. A big glowing arrow pointing to the one. It's not coming. Destiny doesn't come wrapped in clarity. It comes in chaos, in missed calls, in awkward silences, in people who don't look like your type but somehow feel like they've been living in your bones for years. Destiny is messy. It stumbles in while you're still healing from the last disaster, lights a cigarette, and says, "You ready or not?" And most of the time you're not. But that doesn't stop it from sitting across from you, smirking while your hands shake. It's not neat. It's not poetic. It doesn't rhyme. It's not dressed up in a movie script. Destiny walks in wearing yesterday's pain, today's confusion, and tomorrow's questions. You don't recognize it because you thought it would look like peace, but instead it feels like pressure, like weight. Like someone cracked your chest open and put a mirror inside, and suddenly everything you buried starts crawling out. And here's the fun part: everyone around you is advice. They'll tell you how love's supposed to feel. Soft, safe, predictable. But destiny laughs in the face of predictable. It brings you someone who speaks in glitches, who doesn't finish your sentences, but understands the sentence behind your silence. Someone who doesn't tick the boxes, but checks your soul without even trying. And that confuses the hell out of you. Because clarity doesn't come in the beginning. It comes after you walk through the fire, after you've stayed when it got ugly, after you've looked them in the eye and seen not just who they are, but who you are when you're with them. But, oh, people want magic. They want signs. They want certainty before commitment. That's not how it works. You don't get the full picture. You get a whisper, a flash, a pull in your gut that you can't explain. Destiny's cruel like that. It gives you just enough to ruin your appetite for anything else, but not enough to make you feel safe. Because safety isn't the point, growth is, and growth, it hurts. It peels you back until you're raw and shaking and tempted to run. And destiny just watches, arms folded, waiting to see if you'll flinch. You'll question it over and over. You'll ask yourself if this is right, if you're crazy, if it's just trauma dressed up as connection. And the answer doesn't come with logic. It comes with presence, with knowing that even when everything in you screams run, something deeper says stay. Not out of desperation, not because you need them, but because something in them echoes something in you and you can't pretend you don't hear it. So no, destiny doesn't feel like confirmation. It feels like conflict, like being pulled in two directions and forced to choose which part of you will die for the other to live. And love, the real kind, isn't found in the absence of doubt. It's found in the decision to keep choosing through the doubt, to keep showing up when it's inconvenient, to look at someone who triggers every wound in you and still say, "I'm here," not because it's easy, because it's necessary. You'll look back maybe years later, and suddenly everything will make sense. The awkward beginnings, the near breakups, the way they held your worst days without needing to fix them. That's when the clarity hits. But by then the fire will have already done its job, burned the illusions, stripped the fantasies, left behind something terrifyingly real. And destiny will have already moved on to the next poor soul who thinks love comes with a manual and an exit sign. Growth, that's a word they love to romanticize. Paint it in gold, throw it on a vision board, whisper in yoga sessions like it's some gentle process of blooming. But real growth is violent. It's a war zone inside your chest. It's screaming in a room full of silence, trying to convince yourself that pain means progress. Because when someone really matters, when they're meant to be part of your story, they don't just walk in and hold your hand. They grab you by the soul and drag out the parts of you've spent your whole life burying. You thought love was supposed to be easy. Cute text messages, matching playlists, a shared Netflix password, and some filtered photos to show the world you're doing just fine. But what if love wasn't designed to coddle you? What if it was meant to confront you? What if the person who's meant for you doesn't make life more comfortable but more complicated in all the right ways? What if the right one doesn't calm the storm in you but joins it, grabs an oar and dares you to row harder? See, people love the idea of healing, as long as they don't have to face what broke them, as long as no one makes them uncomfortable. But growth requires exposure. And nothing exposes you like someone who sees through the act, through the armor, through the practiced smiles and the unfine lies. The right person. They'll challenge your defense mechanisms, not because they want to destroy you, but because they refuse to love a mask. They're after the version of you that you keep hidden even from yourself. That's what makes it hard. That's why you pull away. That's why you pick fights over stupid things. Because it's easier to argue over dinner plans than to admit you're terrified. Terrified of being seen. Terrified of being known. Because deep down, you've convinced yourself that if someone really saw it all, the anger, the sadness, the mess, they'd walk away. But the one who's meant for you, they don't run. They don't flinch. They look at your chaos and say, is that all you've got? They'll test you. Not with games, not with manipulation, but with presence. They'll stay when you're dead difficult, when you try to push them away, when your words get sharp and your walls go up and every cell in your body showings for distance. They'll stay quiet, consistent, not trying to fix you, just refusing to leave. And it's in that stillness where something inside you starts to shift. Not because they save you, but because you start to believe maybe, just maybe, you're worth saving. But it's not linear. There are no smooth arcs in this kind of transformation. You'll fall back into old habits, say things you regret, doubt their intentions, doubt yourself. It'll feel like too much, too fast, too soon. And still they'll be there, holding the mirror up, daring you to look, daring you to do the one thing you've avoided your whole life. Grow, because the truth is, we're all broken. Some of us just decorate our cracks better. But when the right person enters, they don't care about the decorations. They care about the foundation. They want to see if you can rebuild, not to be perfect, but to be whole. And wholeness doesn't come from being loved when you're at your best. It comes from being held when you're falling apart. So maybe the love you're looking for isn't soft and safe and predictable. Maybe it's wild and uncomfortable and painfully honest. Maybe it's the kind that holds up a mirror and says, you can do better. Not because you're not enough, but because they see the strength in you that you've spent your whole life ignoring. They don't want the version of you that pleases everyone. They want the version that fights, that questions, that digs deep and doesn't stop until the wounds start turning into wisdom. And the catch, it's not a one-time thing. You'll be tested over and over. You'll have to choose growth again and again. It won't always feel like love. Sometimes it'll feel like losing yourself. But that's the twist, isn't it? You have to lose the person you pretended to be, just to become the person you were always meant to be. Love. That word again. Like a sweet little lullaby beat people hum to themselves while everything around them burns. They think if they just find the right one, everything will fix itself, like magic. Like destiny owes them peace for surviving their past. But here's the part they don't tell you, even when the universe throws. Someone your way, someone with that look in their eyes like they've seen your soul before, it doesn't come with a ribbon. It comes with work, with discipline, with the kind of patience that feels like pulling teeth in the middle of a thunderstorm. See, people expect love to arrive fully cooked. They forget it's raw meat thrown on the counter and left for you to season, to burn your fingers on, to prepare with your own mess. They think fate is enough, that some divine force pushing two broken people into the same room guarantees a happy ending. But nah, destiny introduces it. Maintain. That's on you. That's on them. That's on the nights you don't feel like showing up but do anyway. Even if it's just to sit in the silence, you want to know what separates the ones who make it from the ones who don't. Choice. Over and over. In the boredom. In the tension. In the anger that simmers behind clenched jaws at 2 a.m. When you're both too tired to talk but too stubborn to walk away. It's the choice to stay. The choice to forgive without making them beg for it. The choice to tell the truth when lying would be easier. Because even a relationship written in the stars needs hands to hold it together when gravity starts to pull it apart. Love like that. It doesn't feel like fireworks, it feels like work. It feels like effort when you're running on empty. It feels like apologizing even when your ego is screaming not to. It feels like looking at the person in front of you and realizing, yeah, they're not perfect, but neither are you. And maybe that's the point. Not to find someone who completes you, but someone who challenges you enough to finish the damn puzzle yourself. But nobody wants to hear that. They want chemistry, sparks. Drama that looks good on screen but rots from the inside out in real life. They want the high without the come down. But real love isn't a drug. It's rehab. It's waking up every day and deciding again, I choose you. Even when they're annoying. Even when they disappoint you. Even when you disappoint yourself. And that's where most people bail. They can handle the good parts, sure. But the discipline it takes to keep choosing through the mess. That's the part they're not ready for. And then there's the fear. Oh, the delicious fear of being known too well. Because once you commit to someone like that, they get access. Access to the parts of you you've kept locked away. And the scariest part, they might still love you. Not in spite of your flaws, but because of them. And that's terrifying. Because then you don't have the excuse anymore. You can't say no one ever really saw you. Because they do. And now the real work begins. You'll be tempted to run. To push them away before they can disappoint you. To sabotage the connection just to feel in control. But if they're really meant for you, they won't run. They'll stay. And that's going to piss you off, because now you can't hide. Now you've got to show up. Now you've got to learn what it means to love with your sleeves rolled up and your hands dirty. And that's not the kind of love they sell in movies. That's not the kind that gets a soundtrack or a sunset shot. That's the gritty kind. The kind you earn. The kind that rewrites your blueprint for what partnership even means. So maybe love isn't a gift, it's a responsibility. Maybe it's not just about what you feel, but what you do when the feelings don't show up on time. Maybe fate gives you the opportunity, but what you build with it is up to you. And maybe, just maybe, the love of your life isn't the one who brings you peace. Maybe it's the one who stays through the war and helps you become the kind of person who can bring peace to yourself. You ever wonder why the ones that matter the most hurt you the deepest? Aim. It's not because they're cruel. It's not because they're broken beyond repair. It's because they're close enough to reach the soft spots. The ones you've hidden behind sarcasm and distractions and routines and fake smiles. See, pain doesn't come from strangers. It comes from the ones you let in. The ones you hand the blueprint of your heart to and pray they don't burn the whole thing down just because they're cold now. People talk a big game about love being healing, about connection being this magical cure, all that erases the past. What a pretty lie. What a cute, marketable little fantasy. But love, real, raw, off-script love isn't just soft hands and warm promises. Sometimes it's sharp. Sometimes it bleeds. Sometimes it's looking someone dead in the eye and realizing they just showed you the part of yourself you've been running from. And instead of fixing it for you, they wait for you to deal with it. That's love, not comfort. Exposure. When someone's really meant for you, they don't just accept you, they reflect you. They become the mirror you never asked for. And guess what? You won't always like what you see. You'll want to smash that mirror some days, blame them for holding it up, say things you don't mean just to protect your illusion of this. Because letting someone know you really know you, it strips you down. No costume, no makeup, no filter. Just bones, just truth. And that kind of intimacy, it's not for the faint of heart. You start seeing things differently when they stick around after the masks fall off. When they stay not because it's easy, but because it's real. And you'll hate them for it. Because real love doesn't let you stay small. It doesn't coddle your excuses. It pokes and prods and pulls until your comfort zone starts to feel like a cage. That's how you know it's real. Not because they agree with you, but because they challenge you. They say no when it would be easier to not. They hold you accountable when you'd rather disappear. You ever have someone love you so much they let you suck their own mess? Not out of apathy, but out of belief. Because they know if they clean it up for you, you'll never learn. You'll never change. That's the kind of love that stings. The kind that haunts you when you try to move on. The kind that shows up in your dreams wearing your guilt like perfume. Because deep down, you know they were right. You just weren't ready to face it. But that's the trick, isn't it? Timing. You could meet the person who's meant for you and still fumble the whole damn thing because you weren't disciplined enough to grow into who you needed to be. That's what no one tells you. That fate might bring the right person into your life at the wrong time. And then what? You think they'll just wait forever. You think destiny's on your schedule. Nah, sometimes you only get one shot. And when you mess it up, it doesn't come back around with an apology letter. And here's the funny part, you'll try to replace them. You'll find someone new, softer, suffer. Someone who doesn't challenge your shadows. Someone who lets you stay exactly as you are. And for a while it'll feel good, like relief. But relief isn't the same as peace. And comfort isn't the same as love. You'll wake up one day, look over and realize you traded something rare for something easy. And that's a pain that doesn't scream. It whispers. Forever.